Hello, good crowd. I am so excited today. We have with us Candice Whitely, who is a board member, volunteer with an organization called Sowing New Futures that works with women who are prostitutes in India, in the community of suburban New Delhi. This is going to be an amazing story. You stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Please support the sponsors who made this episode possible, including Johnson & Johnson's Caring Crowd and GoodCrowd.school. Candice, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning.
We're thrilled to have you. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. So, Candice, tell us about how you got involved with this group.
So I got involved with Sonia Futures in 2015. A friend of mine who I used to volunteer with a different organization with came to India on vacation to look around and eat curry and play Holi. And we met the women of Sowing New Futures. And ever since that time I was there on vacation, I've been involved. It was a slow process of just, collecting donations for a while. And then I started spending my weekends selling the clothes and the different housewares that the women would make. And now I'm in India most of the time with the women.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell us about the work that you're doing there in New Delhi.
So what we're doing at Sowing New Futures is we're running a program that's kind of from a holistic bent. So we take women whose families would traditionally force them to get married at 14, have one child, and then be forced into the sex work maybe around the age of 16. We are trying to transform the path of their lives, giving them the option to either complete their education or become seamstresses. Or there's one woman we're sending to computer training as well. So letting them develop a different skill or trade than the trade traditionally practiced by all of the women in their community, which is sex work. And so we provide training and then a job. When people finish our program, they can either work with us or we can help connect them with creating a boutique out of their house where they sew clothes for local community members, or try to get them a job at a sewing factory as well. So there's those options involved. We take the children of sex workers and we provide a school readiness program because many of them will not start school till around the age of 6. And so they're not ready or prepared for school. And so we're starting this program with a creche and then a preschool program at around the age of 3. And so we're trying to start at a very young age of changing the paradigm in the community of how they view education and livelihood, and really giving women the right to choose how they spend their life and what they do with their bodies.
How does that transition manifest itself in the lives of individual women?
So there's one woman that I think really embodies our program and a true success story. We'll call her Sanina. Right now, that is not her real name, but I'll call her Sanina. And she is the daughter of a sex worker. Her siblings are all sex workers. She married out of her community into our community. There's 3 communities in Delhi that practice this similar livelihood scheme. And she got married into our community and started coming to our center and learned how to sew. But she was immediately, when she joined us, a shining star. And we started working on developing her managerial skills. And now she works as our community advocate and mobilizer. And she organizes savings groups. She has 4 running right now where 10 women are in each group. They're all actively engaged in sex work, but they're able to save money, which gives them the right to choose many things that if you don't have savings accounts as a sex worker, you would not be able to do, negotiating safe activities and things like that. She organizes women to come for STD and HIV testing. And this is a woman with a 5th grade education who is mobilizing women in 3 communities to have healthy lives, even if they do continue in sex work, and bring women to our community who want to learn to sew.
And she herself is not working as a sex worker.
No, she is not. And she will never.
Yeah.
She would like to bring as many women up with her as she can.
Yeah.
It's an inspiration, really.
What is the caste system in India has been formally rejected, outlawed even, and yet in some ways it is still respected. Isn't that right? How does that contribute to what's going on there?
It's entrenched in the mindset of specifically the people in the community that we work in. But I would say in Delhi as a whole, you see you see fingers of the caste system's residual effect in many aspects of life. This community is considered a criminal caste or a criminal tribe, or they were considered that under the British law, and then again under even the new changes that happened in the 60s and 70s. And though they have been decriminalized, there are still laws that were put in place that made it impossible for them to do their traditional jobs, which was being like snake charmers or people that were traveling, doing shows and things like that. With that work being outlawed, they were left without an option of other work. People do not want these women working in their houses, for example. So they're true as house help and things. So they're left without another way of making money, and without a proper engagement in the education system, it really limits their ability to pull themselves up on their own. They live in parallel, I would say, to the Indian, the typical community in Delhi, instead of alongside it.
Wow. What a crazy, crazy situation. It's just tragic, isn't it?
It is. One of our women, if I can share another story, one of our women who is now our manager, she was actively engaged in sex work. She had joined our program, and then her family decided that she wasn't making enough money and forced her to start working. And she came to us and said, I really need to not be a sex worker. What can we do? And we were able to do a fundraiser. This was a couple of years ago, and we covered her salary for 1 year. And we've trained her to be our quality check and basically the sewing woman leader of the community. And now she is free from sex work. She has 2 children, and we've actually engaged her husband in our program as well. And so he does some of our running errands. He drives people places when we need him to. And it's just phenomenal, a change that can happen in just 2 years with a family.
Yeah. Recently, you raised some money on Caring Crowd to help fund some of your work. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Caring Crowd.
So we love Caring Crowd at Sewing New Futures. They came along at just the right time. I was at the American Public Health Conference, and I ran into the founder of Caring Crowd, and they were the whole group there was telling me all about how the organization works. And so I got together with some of the other people that are actively involved in Sewing New Futures, and I said, do you guys think we could get people to donate money? They match 50, I think it was 100% at the time. If people give up to $250, they match it. And so we planned a fundraising scheme a fundraising plan where we asked people in advance, are you willing to donate to our program? And we kind of figured out what we thought we could mobilize on our own from people that are supporters and interests. And within, I think it was like 2 days of us launching our program, we had met our limit, and we all said, oh, we should have made a higher goal. I mean, It really worked so well. And it really helped us fund our social programs. We have a full-time social worker who does group and individual therapy, and that helped fund that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So what are you most proud of having accomplished, Candice?
I'm proud that the organization has been able to continue as long as it has, that we have kept our doors open, and that we have been able to bring women out of this forced sex work and allow them to live the life that they want. It's really just a phenomenal thing. We've recently joined forces with another organization in Delhi, and we've been distributing condoms to women that are sex workers. And so we have women in our community that were always kind of reticent to even step in our doors because they're actively engaged in sex work, and they didn't feel comfortable at all times coming in. And now they walk through our doors, they seek legal help from our services. We distributed 7,000 condoms last month. And I feel like we're really not only involved in helping them with their trade and their education, but really protecting them so that they can live the life they want to live. And I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. What's the most important lesson you've learned? And this is incredible work you're doing. You must have drawn some pretty powerful insights from this.
I've learned that people can be more perseverant than you could ever imagine. This group of women want this so severely. It matters so much to them. I have learned that I can persevere through many difficult things because I see the examples of these 16-year-old women that I work with and the backstories of their lives and how they continue to show up every day to protect themselves and advocate for themselves. And I think that that's something that we could all learn, that it's never too late to change our lives.
No, that is an inspiring and important lesson to take from this. Candice, you shared the story of how you met these folks and sort of the process you went through a little bit of joining the effort. But why did it appeal to you? What was it about this work that drew you in so completely?
I think you'd have to come and visit our program. It might do the same for you. I find that most people who come and visit the women of Sowing New Futures, their lives are changed and they have to be involved. There's a dynamic there that is very, it's inspiring, I would say. I also think that I thought it was such a good idea that these women, they don't want a handout. They just want to be able to live their lives and be free to make decisions. They don't want to be forced into behaviors that they aren't comfortable with. And I think that I know that I've had a choice in every decision I've ever made, where I went to university, how I live my life, where I live, all of those things. And they don't have that choice. And I know that I would like to bring as many women up with me as I can as I live my life. I think that everyone has the right to make a choice.
Yeah. That's such a valuable point, Candice. Thank you. What is your superpower?
I think I'm willing to push against a wall until it moves. You just sometimes have to keep pushing and keep pushing. And I think that's probably my superpower, is that I'm a bit stubborn.
That is a powerful superpower. Slowly water wears away stone, right? So,
it certainly does.
Yeah, that's powerful. Well, Candice, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. Before you go, will you take just a minute and tell people how they can learn more about Sowing New Futures and how they can connect with you personally?
Yes, so you can visit our website, sowingnewfutures.com, and we have options for you to look through the things that the women make. There's a shopping portal there, and you can also connect with us through our newsletters or through our Instagram page. It's Instagram/sowingnewfutures. And then my personal, or you can contact the organization and myself at hello@sowingnewfutures.com.
Fantastic. Well, Candice, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, and we wish you every success in sowing new futures for these vulnerable women.
Thank you.
Let's do some good.
At Caring Crowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caring Crowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
At GoodCrowd.school, 5% of what you pay to learn how to make a difference goes to nonprofits working to eradicate extreme poverty, improve global health, and reverse climate change by 2045. So when you take a course to learn how to change the world, you do change the world. Get started at GoodCrowd.school today. Thanks for tuning in to the Your Mark on the World show, the Social Impact Podcast. Please subscribe via YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify.